As part of her father's conditions, a woman agrees to marry the son of an impoverished marquis, but she's unaware that their family is hiding a dark secret. In a French farmhouse, Mathurin, the son of the marquis, diligently supervises horse breeding, which is their family's business. Meanwhile, Marquis Pierre I'Esperance is cleaning their rundown estate when he informs his uncle, Duke Ramondello de Bello, that the aristocratic woman named Lucy Broadhurst will marry his son. Ramondello's mood turns sour as he's against it, so he proceeds to retreat to the library to avoid the conversation. However, Pierre follows him into the room and reads the correspondence between Lucy's aunt, Mrs. Virginia Broadhurst, and Mathurin. According to Virginia, Lucy is excited to meet Mathurin, which leads Ramondello to think that the pair's feelings for each other have developed through their exchange of letters. Pierre sees the situation the same way because Mathurin unexpectedly wishes that their arranged marriage will push through. Ramondello is in disbelief, as he has known Mathurin to be an awkward man. Thinking there's something more in the letter, Ramondello snatches it from Pierre's hands and proceeds to read for more information. True to his hunch, Mrs. Virginia includes in the letter about Philip Broadhurst's will. The man declares that Lucy is his heiress and will inherit his estate under a few conditions. She will marry Mathurin, and Cardinal Joseph de Ballo will bless their marriage. With this in mind, Pierre commands his uncle to convince the cardinal to bless his son's marriage because he hasn't spoken to him since Mathurin's birth. Ramondello refuses, so Pierre threatens to air the secret he has kept hidden for 45 years, that he poisoned his wife, Duchess Florence de Ballo. At first, Ramondello is unbothered, and even challenges his nephew to show him evidence. Pierre then reveals an old vial containing a powdered substance, and he shares that it still has traces of his fingerprints. Afraid that his reputation will be tarnished, Ramondello eventually swears to comply with his orders. However, he reminds Pierre that he's making a big mistake, given that Mathurin is yet to be baptized. Pierre assures him that it's nothing to be worried about because he has arranged his son's baptism later. Still, Ramondello believes that nothing can change Mathurin's nature, but Pierre just ignores him. Later that day, Pierre meets with the local priest, and the man introduces him to his two attendants, Theodore and Modeste. Out of hospitality, Pierre offers the attendants a box of chocolates, but the priest forbids them to take more than just a piece. Ignoring the priest's controlling behavior, Pierre then orders their only helper, Iphany, to give the priest a drink. Shortly after, Pierre grooms Mathurin himself because he doesn't want their visitors to discover his son's secret. For this reason, Pierre takes the essential items for the baptism from the priest and performs the ceremony himself. As for his uncle, Ramondello tries to contact Cardinal Joseph, but his secretary Roberto regretfully informs him that he's still on his mission in Africa. Roberto wonders who the caller is, and Ramondello introduces himself. Unexpectedly, the secretary drops the call, leaving the Duke speechless. Meanwhile, Lucy, alongside her Aunt Virginia, is on their way to the Esperance's chateau, but they encounter a fallen tree blocking the road. Lucy takes this opportunity to take pictures of the forest, as she's a nature enthusiast. A few moments later, they arrive at the chateau, and Ramondello welcomes the pair inside. When they exchange introductions, he informs them that Pierre, the master of the house, is yet to meet them because he's still washing his son. Virginia is confused by his words, but the Duke refuses to explain further. Moving on, Ramondello asks if they'll wait in their rooms, but Virginia denies it. Instead, she wants to wait for Pierre and Mathurin in the receiving area. Once they're settled, Virginia inquires Ramondello if Pierre is aware of Philip's will, but the Duke evades the question. He advises that she should personally ask Pierre since he's responsible for Lucy and Mathurin's marriage. Curious, Lucy intervenes in their conversation and asks if the rumors of ghosts in their estate are true, but the Duke denies it. However, Lucy is unsatisfied because she has read from Countess Romilda de L'Esperance that she described ghosts in her book 200 years ago. Upon hearing her name, Ramondello remembers the Countess, but he clarifies that she never wrote anything. All he knows is that their ancestor left them a drawing in her herbal journal. Lucy is interested in it, so Ramondello reveals that he's carrying it all this time. Excitedly, Lucy approaches him and browses the journal, but the Duke cautions her that the leaves are fragile, so she must be gentle. He then instructs her to turn to page 115b, and when she complies, Lucy wonders what Romilda means about the beast-like creature she illustrated. In addition to the cryptic drawing, Ramondello shows them Romilda's corset, which was found in the pond. He emphasizes that it has traces of claw marks, and Virginia confirms their presence. Suddenly, the Duke panics after he hears Pierre's shout, compelling him to leave. While he's away, Lucy notices a framed handwritten note on display, so she tries to show it off to her aunt. Behind the frame, Lucy realizes that there's an obscene illustration of an animal and a human. Lucy finds it bizarre, but she can't deny feeling a rush of desire. Before she can observe it further, Pierre snatches the frame from her hands and returns it to its original position. He advises the pair not to believe Ramondello's stories, stressing that they are absurd. Moreover, he disproves the rumors about a beast arriving at their residence every 200 years. Changing the topic, Pierre apologizes for the lack of comfort, but Lucy assures him it's fine because she loves the forests and animals. Pierre summons Iphigenie to help them settle in their rooms, but their helper has yet to appear, annoying him. Unbeknownst to him, Iphigenie is currently preoccupied as he's having an intimate affair with Pierre's daughter, Clarisse. Their moment is interrupted when Pierre angrily summons Iphigenie again, so the man immediately starts to get dressed. Upon arriving downstairs, Iphigenie hands Pierre a note from Ramondello. Pierre reads the note and learns that the cardinal's secretary hung up on him when he heard the duke's name. Though disappointed, Pierre orders Iphigenie to take their visitor's luggage. He then faces them, but Virginia is curious about the cardinal's whereabouts. Pierre lies that the cardinal could arrive at any moment, just to save face. Moments later, in Lucy's room, the woman opens the kneeler compartment and finds 2 books. The first one is about sermons, but Lucy isn't interested in it, so she puts it down. The second book, however, illustrates a bizarre relationship between a mythical creature and a human, which interests her. However, she hears a knock on her door, urging her to return it and entertain her visitor. It turns out that it's their chauffeur who delivers her luggage. Downstairs, Modeste is playing the piano, whereas the priest is pampering and kissing Theodore. Meanwhile, in the bathroom, Pierre is helping his son get ready to meet Lucy. Mathurin admits that he's afraid, but Pierre tries to ease his worries by reminding him that he's been baptized, meaning the original sin has been washed away. He shares that he only feels brave when Lucy is far away, but now, he's starting to forget everything Pierre has taught him. To ease his son's pessimism, Pierre encourages him by complimenting his looks. After tending to Mathurin's needs, Pierre heads to the library and confronts Ramondello about his note, thinking that he's lying. The Duke insists that it's the truth, and explains that the cardinal refuses to speak to pagans. For this reason, Pierre orders him to call the cardinal and inform him that Mathurin is finally baptized. Still, Ramondello feels discouraged, as the secretary ends the call after hearing his name. Pierre remains skeptical of him, so he threatens to reveal his secret to the cardinal. Even if he's worried about his reputation, Ramondello is more concerned about Mathurin, believing that Pierre is prioritizing wealth over his son. Hurt by his assumption, Pierre stresses that they need the money because their estate is crumbling and their land is barren. Therefore, he's determined to make the marriage happen, for he thinks Lucy will save them. Immediately, Pierre contacts the cardinal and puts Ramondello on the phone. Again, the secretary drops the call after hearing his name, much to their dismay. Pierre believes his uncle, so he sends the cardinal a telegram and takes the responsibility of inviting him. To make his invitation convincing, Pierre highlights the part where Mathurin is finally baptized and invites him to their dinner later. Following this, Pierre, alongside Mathurin, makes a deal with the priest regarding the baptism that transpired earlier. Pierre requests the priest to testify that Mathurin's baptism has adhered to the church rules. Moreover, he reminds him that they never had a bad relationship with the church, which the priest can't deny. Now, he orders Mathurin to recite what his first act will be after the wedding. In compliance, Mathurin reveals that he'll repair the church roof and order a bell, whose tone will be chosen by Lucy. He emphasizes that it will be like the Vatican's bells, which delights the priest. Meanwhile, in Clarisse's room, she is making love with Iphigenie when they hear Pierre's voice summoning the helper. Though saddened by the interruption, the pair halts their moment, for Iphigenie has to accomplish his duties. At the library, Pierre hands Iphigenie a small tray containing a rose and a small envelope that must be delivered to Lucy's room. While Iphigenie is on his way, Lucy is enjoying her time to herself. Suddenly she hears a knock on the door, surprising her. She abruptly leaves the bed, and when she opens the door, Iphigenie delivers Mathurin's gifts. The woman is too stunned to realize it, but after her panic dissipates, she feels touched by the gesture. Curious, she reads the letter, and she feels desired that Mathurin is eager to marry her. However, she's unaware that Pierre is the one who penned the message. During dinner, Virginia is disappointed at the cardinal's absence, which she believes is due to a feeling of hostility toward Pierre's family or hers. The Marquis denies it and insists that they're on good terms, even in their church. The priest supports his claims by informing her of Mathurin and Lucy's promise to donate to the church. Surprised, Virginia confronts Lucy about it, as she's unaware of the said donation. Lucy reveals that through their correspondence, she and Mathurin have agreed to donate a bronze bell to the church. Moving on, Pierre asks Virginia if it's indicated in Philip's will that there's no deadline for the wedding. Sharing his curiosity, Virginia abruptly leaves the table to check on the document. She learns that Philip wants the wedding to take place no later than 6 months after his passing. Despite this, Pierre is unbothered because they still have another 48 hours. He then requests to examine the will, and Virginia hesitantly hands him the document. There, Pierre learns that Philip wants Mathurin to be in a healthy condition. Defensively, the Marquis admits that his son used to consume cigarettes, but he clarifies that he's aware that it's unhealthy. Regarding his casted arm, Pierre explains that Mathurin fell from his horse and broke it. Unexpectedly, the socially awkward Mathurin defends himself by informing their visitors that he has stopped consuming cigarettes. Additionally, he shares that a doctor, a vet to be precise, has provided him with a cure for his injured arm. Mathurin then pulls out his snacks and proceeds to devour them carelessly. Pierre is upset at his son's erratic behavior, so he tries to stop him, causing him to drop the champagne flute. Due to the commotion, Virginia believes that Lucy's father has made a mistake in choosing her niece's groom. Later in Lucy's room, the woman is in front of a mirror and tries on her wedding dress. Because of the wine, the woman feels sleepy, so she lies on her bed, only for her to fall asleep in an instant. In her dream, she takes the form of Mathurin's ancestor, Countess Romilda de I'Esperance, who's playing the harpsichord. The woman abruptly ended her practice when she discovered that a little lamb had strayed away from its mother, which concerned her. Romilda immediately chases after the lamb into the forest, hoping to catch it. Once she reached the middle of the forest, she became horrified to find the lamb's ravished corpse. But what disturbed her the most was the presence of a hideous beast perched on a tree. Back in the present, Pierre is awakened when a telephone rings, prompting him to check on it, hoping it's a call from the cardinal. Upon reaching the library, Pierre overhears Ramondello, encouraging Cardinal Joseph to remain in Rome because he doesn't want Mathurin to get married. He assumes that his grandnephew will perish if he marries Lucy, which is something he can't bear witnessing. Just to cancel the wedding, the Duke tries to reveal the truth about Mathurin's baptism, but before he can execute his plan, Pierre barges inside the room. Feeling betrayed, the Marquis grabs the telephone from Ramondello's grasp and drops it on the floor. He takes his uncle outside and punishes him by slitting his throat. The Duke's scream awakens the priest and his attendants, so Pierre visits them and assures them that it's nothing to be worried about. Despite the noise downstairs, Lucy remains asleep and continues to dream about Romilda and her encounter with a beast. This time, Romilda was running away from the beast when she accidentally slipped. The woman continued to run away from the creature, even though her clothes got caught in the branches. Determined to misdirect the monster, Romilda found a gigantic tree, so she decided to climb to it. Unfortunately for her, she got stuck hanging on the branch, allowing the beast to locate her. Abruptly, Lucy awakens from her strange yet vivid dream, and she's confused if it's real. She assumes that Mathurin tries to make love to her, so to confirm it, she visits his room. However, she finds him asleep and fully clothed, leading her to believe her assumption is wrong. Without a choice, she returns to her room, but she can't stop herself from feeling the rush. She decides to deal with it, but she falls asleep in the process. During this dream, Romilda succumbed to the beast's seduction, and she made love to it. The woman uses the beast to relieve her pent-up urges, causing it to pass away due to exhaustion. After the series of strange dreams, Lucy finds herself bare, believing that Mathurin has taken advantage of her. Immediately, she heads to his room to check on him, but she's alarmed to find him lying on the floor. Concerned, she checks on his pulse, only to find him lifeless. Out of fear, she heads to her aunt's room and knocks on her door. Virginia is confused as to why Lucy is bare, but her niece is too shaken to form a coherent sentence. Instead, Lucy convinces her aunt to follow her and mouths that she didn't do anything to Mathurin. Her cries attract the attention of Pierre, the priest, and his attendants, so they follow her to Mathurin's room. Just when they retrieve Mathurin's body, the priest tries to disrobe him to check for injuries, but Pierre forbids him. He orders them to help him carry his son to the drawing room, for he needs to call for help. As they descend the stairs, Pierre summons Iphany, but the helper is unable to comply because he's fooling around with Clarice. Later, in the drawing room, the Marquis has to leave because he needs to contact a doctor. With the men's absence in the room, Virginia takes this opportunity to disrobe Mathurin. She flips over the lifeless man's body, causing her to break the plaster cast in the process. There, Virginia and Lucy are horrified to discover that it conceals Mathurin's beastly claws. When Mathurin is bare, Virginia finds a tail attached to his bottom, which confirms the rumors that Romilda fornicated with a beast. Disgusted by this discovery, Virginia, alongside Lucy, decides to leave the estate and never look back. Pierre tries to prevent them from leaving, but the pair heads to the library to escape. Once outside, they stumble upon Cardinal Joseph and Robert, but the women pay them no mind. Inside the residence, Cardinal Joseph sees Mathurin's grim fate, which he hypothesizes is bound to happen. He then informs the priest that his ancestor's deed is considered the most odious crime, for it debases man. Meanwhile, on the road, a heartbroken Lucy falls asleep, and Virginia comforts her. Again, she dreams of Romilda, in which the Countess proceeds to bury the lifeless beast using a pile of dried leaves. The woman then gathers her remaining clothes and sprints home.
Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.